Police arrested the man they say is responsible for the murder of a League City man. Back in June, the victim was followed from the Capitol Grill restaurant on Westheimer back to his home.
All right, so right now, Anieli Ruiz has been following this story from the beginning, and she joins us live right now with the latest on the investigation. Anieli?
Well, that's right. Police have finally made an arrest nearly 6 months later. They tell us the man they arrested was part of a ring of robbers that was targeting people who had luxury cars and watches.
You think the family gonna come out on a podium and be like, we want to thank the League City Police Department because for 6 months we were wondering what happened to our loved one, and now they've brought us closure. 6 months of hard work. Usually, you know that after 48 hours, if you don't get a lead, you don't catch the guy, it becomes exponentially harder. These guys caught the guy 6 months later. Thank you, League City Police. Think that's going to happen? No, because people only get on podiums with clergy members and lawyers and activists behind them when they feel that their loved one was done wrong by the police. No one applauds the police for this type of work.
Well, that's right. Police have finally made an arrest nearly 6 months later. They tell us the man they arrested was part of a ring of robbers that was targeting people who had luxury cars and watches. Take a look. This is a person that police arrested. They say they arrested 21-year-old Devon Christopher Jordan from Pearland. Here's the evidence that investigators have on him. They tell us they identified a white Mercedes SUV that was in the area at Capitol Grill and in League City the night of the murder. Investigators say Jordan rented that SUV. They also recovered a styrofoam cup and a straw at the crime scene, and they tell us the DNA profile matches Jordan.
So this dude left a cup and a straw with his DNA on the scene. And this is starting to make me think that this victim that here was a glider, man. Because they usually don't do forensic work. And I'm not talking about like, on no disparity or racial type stuff. We don't get the same treatment. Listen, man. The police don't get the same support when they kill a son person. No one wants to talk. There's no leads. There's nothing. It kills their morale. When a glider gets killed, the family's out supporting. They're doing their own investigation. They're finding leads. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody in the family found that cup and gave it to the police. Here, test this. But whoever it was, that was great police work. Great police work. They found a cup on the scene with his DNA on it. And of course, his name is on all the paperwork down at the rental car. I mean, so you have that. But still, that's not, that's not enough to nail him with these liberal, super crime-friendly DAs nowadays. You got to have all your ducks in a row to get an indictment. So, good job for the police department to do this thorough job and find these guys 6 months later.
They also recovered a styrofoam cup and a straw at the crime scene, and they tell us the DNA profile matches Jordan. But investigators say thanks to the collaboration of HPD, ATF, they were able to arrest Jordan and others who were committing similar crimes.
Once these organized groups kind of figure out that this is a kind of a fruitful venture for them, they almost get addicted to it. This particular group was committing, these robberies 2 or 3 a week sometime.
When they arrested him on Friday, he was wearing an ankle monitor because Jordan was out on bond for a robbery and a capital murder charge in Harris County.
Now, I want you to know, he was out, when they arrested him, he was out on a murder and a robbery, two different bonds. Listen, I did a story back in, I want to say August or June, July or August. $157 people have been killed in Harris County, the county that Houston is in, by people out on felony bonds. Up to that point, 157 people have been killed that year. Up to that point, by people out on multiple felony bonds. Multiple. If you think Philadelphia is jacked up with the court system and the DAs and the judges, if you think Chicago is, watch some of my videos on Houston. It's insane down there. I wonder what the number is. That's probably 200 something now. And these are just the people killed by people out on multiple felony bonds. Multiple.
Once these organized groups kind of figure out that this is a kind of a fruitful venture for them, you know, they almost get addicted to it. This particular group was committing, you know, these robberies 2 or 3 a week sometimes.
When they arrested him on Friday, he was wearing an ankle monitor because Jordan was out on bond for a robbery and a capital murder charge in Harris County. Investigators say he was arrested by HPD and is awaiting to be magistrated before being transferred to the Galveston County Jail. Now, Jordan is charged with capital murder. His bond is set at $1 million. And by the way, investigators tell us they're not done yet. They're still looking for 2 other people involved in this case. If you have any information, you're told to contact Crime Stoppers.
Welcome to Banfield. It seemed like an open and shut case, a slam dunk, in fact, a mass shooting that took just 13 seconds and was caught on camera. Back in May, you might remember this video, 4 men rolling up on a Miami banquet hall, 3 of them opening fire on the concert goers waiting outside. They shot 23 people, killing 3 of them before peeling out in that white Nissan. 2 men were arrested. 1 even confessed. But today, all charges against that guy who confessed were dropped, which means 20-year-old Warneric Buckner is walking away free. And we are not talking about little charges here. We're talking about the most serious that there are.
So, yeah. When I tell you guys, like, and there's 2 things about this. So many guys on the streets have had snitch jackets put on them because of the situation, because the criminal justice is so corrupt. So nowadays you have the internet, and you know you can look up paperwork and you can see news article clippings from everywhere, all over the country. But back in the 90s and the 2000s, you just had your city, and nobody read the paper. Nobody on the streets read the paper really, or watched the news. They just knew they knew the streets. So a lot of guys got snitch jackets on them because you do a mass shooting, shoot 20-something people, kill 3 of them. It'd be a big case, and you'd get arrested, and you'd come home. And people be like, nah, you had to tell, you had to snitch. Well, in this case, this guy did snitch. He snitched on himself. But because the criminal justice system is so lax nowadays, and has always been, guys would come home and they would just automatically get a snitch jacket put on them. This guy, no one's going to call him a snitch because they can see the ineptitude of the legal system. Okay? They can see it. So there's no need, it's not a bunch of, drug-addicted high school dropouts, sitting in a circle talking about some, yeah, man, I think he snitched, man. How he come home so early from that? I mean, he killed 3 people and shot 20 more. How they come home from that? He had to have snitched. No, not really. The criminal justice system, and people say, why are you always talking about the women? I don't always talk about the women. I'm talking about them, and they're the ones protesting to make this easier. They want to make the system easier for Sun men. They want to make the system, they say the system is too hard on the Sun man. And I'm telling them, that's why I go at the sisters, because they're the ones protesting, they're the ones getting hit with rubber bullets in the street, protesting, getting arrested and tear gassed over trying to make this easier for guys like this.
But today, all charges against that guy who confessed were dropped, which means 20-year-old Warneric Buckner is walking away free. And we are not talking about little charges here. We're talking about the most serious that there are. Death penalty eligible. 3 counts of first-degree murder and 20 counts of attempted murder. It defies logic how this happened. But here's what seems to have happened. Prosecutors say it is true. Homicide detectives were able to get that confession out of Buckner. But it is the timing of that confession that just doesn't seem to square with the law. And because of that, they had no choice and had to cut him loose. I want to go right now to News Nation's Brian Enton, who's in Miami with more. Brian, this just doesn't seem like it's possible. What was wrong with the confession?
Well, listen, when I heard this today, Ashley, this was like a jaw-dropping moment because I covered the shooting at the end of May. I was outside that banquet hall. You said it. 23 people shot. It was awful. There were innocent people outside that banquet hall. There was a massive manhunt. There was a $130,000 reward. They finally arrested this guy. They got the confession. You said felt like a slam dunk. The issue that we learned about today is that the suspect, Warneric Buckner, he asked for an attorney during the interrogation, which is his right. He asked for the attorney. He wanted to hire an attorney and bring an attorney in, but they continued with the interrogation after that, and that is when the confession happened.
Okay, so the police messed up, man. Once I say I want my attorney, the conversation's over. We all watch First 48. As soon as the guy says he wants an attorney, the conversation is over. They get their folders and they'd be mad. The detectives be hot. But conversation's over, man. Once I say I want my attorney, the conversation's over, man. These detectives, I don't know, maybe because the situation was so, like, this was a rough situation. The families came out and it was just, oh my God, it was heart-wrenching, man. Seeing these families talk about their deceased, their loved ones. Still, man, at the end of the day, man, none of that can affect the police. They have a job to do and they have to do it correctly. And this guy, although he did it, the confession was taken after he asked for his lawyer, so it didn't happen. And we all know he did it. He knows he did it. The cops know. Everybody knows he did it. Witnesses probably now that he snitched, yeah, it was him. What can you do? I don't feel sorry for the police. I feel sorry for the families because the police know that once he asks for his lawyer, this conversation's over. And maybe they just wanted this guy because this was a bad one. Like, these guys literally, like, it was like a bunch of people. The people that were standing out in front of the club weren't the people they were beefing with. It was like a rap beef between different rap crews. The people they were beefing with were inside the club. These are other people trying to get in to see the show. These is just the people waiting outside to get in the show, get into the club, standing in line. They came up and sprayed those people. Killed 3 of them. Wounded 20 of them, 20 others with assault rifles. So those wounds is not like, oh, you are in therapy and multiple surgeries, rehab for months and maybe years. If you survive, those are survivors. So it just, maybe the cops just was like, man, we got to get these guys, man. Screw the rules.
He wanted to hire an attorney and bring an attorney in, but they continued with the interrogation after that, and that is when the confession happened. So when prosecutors were going over this confession, it was all recorded. They realized, wait a minute, he asked for an attorney, and the detective kept going. This would likely be thrown out in court, and they decided to drop the charges.
So look, I get that. I get that Miranda is critical in this nation, and you do have the right to remain silent, and you do have the right to an attorney. We see it on TV all the time. It gets listed the minute they call her a perp. But in this case, there's video. There are witnesses. There's plenty of evidence. Why on earth is just the confession the only reason that they're going to toss this out?
Well, apparently the confession is all they had. I mean, I read the closeout memo very, very carefully from the Miami-Dade County State Attorney, and they said there that they needed to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, and without that confession, they could not do that. So he went from being charged with 20 counts of attempted murder and 3 counts of murder to it all being dropped today, and just tonight, Ashley, this man walked out of the Miami-Dade County Jail.
Okay, just get me off the ledge, though. Tell me that this isn't over, that they're going to continue investigating, that they're going to continue to try to gather something else in order to effectuate, like, a rearrest or maybe an actual prosecution of this guy?
It's possible, but again, he's out of jail. He walked out tonight. There could be a rearrest. The state attorney was clear today that this is still an open investigation, and what they said was, if there is a discovery of new evidence, it is possible that he could be prosecuted. The police said that they are also continuing to investigate. They want to bring justice to the families. But again, it appears that evidence doesn't exist right now because they let him walk out of jail tonight.
It's just maddening, especially when you see that video. I mean, innocent people just mowed down. You can see people actually taking bullets. It's horrifying.